Common Core Algebra 2, then we're going to go on with part 2 of our Chapter 2, Section 4 lessons where we're writing equations of a line. Today we're going to see our other two forms that we talked about, the first two forms actually, slope, intercept, and standard form. Okay, now I did these second because I think usually point slope is probably the best form to use in this case, but we're going to show you two other ways to do it just in case you prefer and in case you ever see them on something like the ACT maybe. So, first thing we've got our slope-intercept form. Just a quick reminder, that's going to be y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. So what we're going to try to do when we write it in this form is we need to find these two things. We need to find slope and we need to find our y-intercept. Now, sometimes, just like in the last lesson, you'll be given slope. You'll rarely be given the y-intercept. Sometimes you're given a slope and a point, like here. So if we have slope, we know that we have m equals -2. And our y-intercept, we know that b is 6. So we just plug them in. Sometimes it's really simple like this. -2x plus 6. And that gives us our equation. Okay, it's really simple when you have both your slope and your y-intercept. It can be more complicated when you have something like your slope and a point, -2, 5. The thing to keep in mind here is that this is an x into y value. So if I have my equation, my form, what I'm going to do, I know my slope is 6, so instead of m, I'm going to write 6. I don't know my b. That's the other piece I need to find out. I always need to know these two things, remember. I know a y and an x, and really any point on the line will work here. You're given -2, 5, so that's the point we're going to use. I'm going to plug y. I'm going to plug 5 in for y, and for x, I'm going to substitute -2. And now you see we only have one variable here, so we just need to solve. Start by 6 times -2 gives us -12 plus b, and then we have a -12, so I'm going to add 12 to both sides. And that's going to end up that b is equal to 17. Okay, now don't make the mistake, you're not done here. Remember, we asked you to write the equation of the line. So I go back to thinking about my y equals mx plus b. And now that I have the two things that I want, I'm going to plug them in. So y equals 6x plus 17, and that gives me the equation of a line. So when you have slope and y-intercept, it's really easy. When you have a point, you have to plug in and do a little bit of work in order to find b. And the other form we've talked about then is what's called standard form. Remember, that's ax plus by equals c when we have your variables on one side and your constant on the other, or sometimes you may even see an equation with your constant on the same side, and we only have to do a little manipulation to get rid of that. Okay, so we're not going to actually be able to write an equation in this form. We're going to have to figure out our slope, and we're going to figure out our slope and our b, and we're going to manipulate a little bit to put in this form. Now, you can actually use your point slope form too. This is where I think that it's going to be easiest, when we're going to manipulate that to put it in standard form. So again, we have our slope, we have a point. Just a quick reminder, if you're not given slope, remember you need to use that slope formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But since we're given a point and a slope, I think it makes sense to start with your point slope form. Okay, simply because you're given a point and a slope. And if I write down my point slope form here, now all I need to do is plug in. So I leave the y minus, I'm going to plug in my y value is 3, equals my slope is 5, and my x value is -4. So minus a -4, I'm going to change into plus 4. Now to get it in standard form, remember we want ax plus by equals c, which means I need to get x and y on the same side and my constants on the other side. To do that, I'm going to start by distributing 5. So I get 5x plus 20. And now I want to move my x over here and my constants over here. So I can start by adding 3. And then in the same step, I'm going to say, since I want to move my x, I'm going to subtract 5x. That way we get everything on one side in one step. So our 3's cancel out here. The 5x minus 5x cancels out here. We get 23 on our right side. That's our constant. And on our left side, we want to add these two. So I'm going to say -5x plus y. And that would be standard form, because now you have your x and y on one side and your constant on the other side. And that is it for this lesson, and that is it for writing equations. We'll see you next time.